Recording in progress.
I wonder if that woman made a lot of money off of her voice.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. This is Taylor from Tillich Today, and with me do introduce yourselves.
This is Christy and Leah from Theology on the Rocks. We're doing a crossover episode, guys.
The Reverend Doctor.
Crossover,
Leah,
Reverend Doctor.
Leah Robinson, regular
Esquire.
doctor. Christy Whaley, regular doctor. Taylor.
Regular Doctor.
Regular doctor.
The Rev Doc and the Reg Doc.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, we're here from Theology on the Rocks because we love Taylor. Taylor was our roomie at Theology Beer Camp, and we had a good time. And
except for the heat.
Oh gosh,
that wasn't fun. Heat in Denver.
I know.
We had no heat in our Airbnb in Denver in late October, mid-October. And
weirdly, I was the one that was not being affected by it in a way.
You slept in every piece of clothing that you came with. You were like, this is fine. I can bundle up, and then just covered yourself.
Oh, I lived in Scotland. You know what that was like. There was no like central heat and air, and there was also no window. Like all the windows you were basically outside.
When you live in Scotland, you basically just sleep outdoors.
Yes. It's like a camping trip that never ends.
You think you have walls, but they're not real.
They're not.
But yeah, it was very cold. And we didn't get the heat turned on until the day we left.
And there was one stage where it was me, I think, Brian, and you drinking wine at this like insane table.
Massive.
And Taylor was wearing like like maybe several hoodies.
Several hoodies.
And she just kept sinking. She would talk to us, but like her head kept disappearing farther down the hoodie. Like
getting smaller.
Yeah, and you were like wrapping yourself into it. Was like your body was just like folding in on itself.
I put my feet up inside the hoodie and put my arms in so that I could like get the body warmth.
And then you made the hoodie go up to the point where you were just a hoodie. Like you were
just like two eyes peering out from the
And I think finally I was like, girl, you don't have to. You can go. You can do it.
It was really cold in that place, and they had a zillion rules. So many rules that we
don't get on that trail.
We broke a few. But then we were like, well, screw your rules. You didn't give us any heat.
You didn't even turn the heat on. My God.
We would turn it on and they would turn it off. Like we would turn it on and they would like go in.
Yeah, it would not turn on. So I finally got a hold of them. And I remember walking up to Kristen, who does like all of the organization, event planning and everything. Shout out to her for her massive efforts at Theology Beer Camp. But I walked up to her and I was like, hey, our Airbnb doesn't have any heat. And her face just like went into like, oh God, it's another problem. And I was like, it's fine. We'll survive. Just maybe like the best rating.
Yeah, like it was such a woman reaction on both sides because it was like, oh, I have to take care of another thing.
Yeah, and I was like, no, it's
also
okay.
I don't want to bother you. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
we're all freezing.
We're dying. We're dying.
Yeah, we're freezing to death, but don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, but I'm telling you.
Yeah. They turned it off the day we left, and I was like, well,
we're done. Well, we're not recycling all your bottles in 800 bags.
Welcome to Colorado, my two friends from the South. Also, the rocks. We were not allowed on the rocks.
Oh, the rocks. They were, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the rocks.
The rocks. We're pebbles.
You live out west. I think you have rocks. Like, I don't have
like, that's the most Airbnb shit I've ever heard. Don't get on the rocks.
Here's how you sort into 800 different recycling bags. No. Look, I don't use the phrase woke often, but take your woke ass back to home. I am not. Just give me a recycling bag. Y'all figure it out. Come on.
We're not supposed to have guests either. And
okay.
I was like, no, friends, we are adults. We're not having a rager. Oh, anyway, that Airbnb.
We needed someone to keep us warm.
We needed wine and we needed more coats.
What are y'all drinking tonight? I got Chardonnay.
Oh, nice. I have I have mulled wine.
Oh, nice.
Glühwein from Aldi, which
Ooh.
is not where you should buy your Glühwein, but it was $7.
My whole bottle of wine was like $7, so
Yeah.
it's not peak.
Well, in my Georgia mug, Christy,
Mug, yes. Oh,
I
it was
have-
a Georgia mug.
truly unruly, which makes Christy really happy when I drink this.
True. What the hell is truly unruly?
What isn't it?
What isn't it?
Is it like white person for loco? Well, for loco is for white people.
It was absolutely for white college kids.
Do you mean, is this an 8% seltzer for like white girl wasted nights? Yes, absolutely.
What
I
flavor is
own
that
it. I own it. So yeah, because I can't drink the regular seltzers because they're like 5%, and I'm like, I feel like I'm just wasting my time.
When I upload this, I'm just gonna name it Truly Unruly with Theology on the Rocks.
I think it's such a good name. Do
I
it.
love that.
Hopefully, no copyright infringement.
Yo, I think I'm in Instagram jail for making Ben Shapiro mad.
Oh, good job.
Tell us everything.
Yeah,
I didn't know all
I
about
posted
it.
this dumbass video of Ben Shapiro like responded to the shooting in New York, the CEO thing,
Yeah.
and he did the lamest take ever, and his whole fan base like started turning against him, and they were like, "Fuck you, you don't know anything," all this other stuff. So I just like snapshotted all those comments and then made a video of Ben talking, and then while he's talking, slowly one of the songs from Les Mis comes on, and those comments just start popping.
Amazing. I love the
It's,
theater.
what is it? This sing the song of angry men. That's what it was.
Yes.
And you hear the people. Yeah.
Singing this song.
Anyway.
Slow clap. Slow clap for that one.
Anyway, I woke up this morning. I posted it last night. I got up this morning and it was at like 180,000 views. It's like, Jesus, what the hell?
Wow.
So then I archive it for a hot second because I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how I'm going to moderate these comments because they're getting out of hand. And I can't deal with this right now. So I archive it. Then I go back in, like to change it, to bring it back. It's gone. It's not there. And now my Instagram account is on like 0 activity.
Oh no.
And I couldn't even like open Instagram for a hot second there. Like none of my reactions were coming up. Nothing would upload. And now like it's just like I've been put in jail.
It's
Do
your
they have to tell you if they put you in jail?
I don't know. I'm starting to believe these conservatives who were like, I got shadow banned.
No, I know people get shadow banned all the time because
What is that? What is shadow banned?
shadow it basically just it's like what she's explaining, but like also they stop showing you to your followers, like you just stop showing up on stuff and
Oh my gosh.
you're
That's
still
like-
doing stuff, but like they're not putting you on the feed. And the people that I hear get shadow banned are usually like it's a lot of Black people who are like trying to talk about racism and then they're like, so I'm shadow banned again, or like oh
Did Ben
gosh.
Shapiro ever comment on your post?
I don't think so. But I wonder if there's like a copyright thing that he just has people out.
Sure, he has people looking for him.
Or the other, like Nick Polk from the Talking Heads guy I have on all the time, he said he thought it was because like a lot of these organizations are trying to shut down, all the like pro Luigi rhetoric.
The billionaires don't love the reaction to this.
No. I mean, I was like, hey, I don't condone violence, but
I'm not gonna-
it's good to see that this is a bipartisan celebration that we're coming together over healthcare, not murder, over healthcare.
not murder, but
There you
over the poor healthcare system of the United States.
100%.
Need for reform.
And then Elon Musk, did you see that he commented on he was like this is paraphrasing, but who cares? It's Elon Musk. It was like the woke left is celebrating this like murder. What do they think businesses do? Oh, yeah, they're supposed to work for their shareholders. And then it was like the person who commented was like, I'm glad Elon Musk just explained capitalism to America. Like,
no, he said they have a responsibility to their shareholders, however ruthless that may be. And I was like,
right.
No matter how many people die, horrible deaths because insurance companies refuse to pay what they're supposed to be doing. As long as those billionaires are making a profit, that's fine.
What's their
But
shareholders, Christy?
I will watch any Denzel Washington movie that ever comes out. And do you know how many Denzel Washington movies are about him like taking a hostage or a whole hospital hostage until they'll treat his dying child? like I have been learning for
That's
years
very
now.
specific for just to be in multiple.
It's a whole genre of film. I don't know.
It's like called Seattle Grace, Atlanta Medical, and he just goes around.
There's so many films being like, hospitals won't treat a dying child because of insurance, so we're gonna do these like vengeance things, and then become a hero. And I'm like, how are we surprised at the reaction? It's a whole genre of movie.
Also, the guy was, I mean,
hot.
Let's be honest.
Look, I don't know what they're talking about. Luigi was on the podcast last week.
I know, he
all
was
day
helping me.
We were praying for the shareholders. He brought me closer to Christ. I don't know what they're talking about. A nice young man.
Same with Luigi. I find the Luigi part for some reason just really hits me. And I think maybe having a brother in the 90s that I'm just like, really? You're like, yeah. Because he's like 20 something. So it was like our generation that's naming him.
I know.
And the mom was like, not Raphael, not Michelangelo.
Luigi from Nintendo. So Nintendo posted about something to do with Luigi at this moment, and I don't know if they're trying to catch on to the trend, but of course everyone in the comments is like, free Luigi.
Free Luigi. I have seen it's, I mean, honestly, this is probably peak internet right now because everyone is he has 3 billion alibis just standing by.
I know. I have a few friends in the male gay community in Charlotte who it's a whole thing there. Like they have taken him in. They have created a world around him. One of my friends said, if I go to jail, do you think everyone would say I'm hot the way that everyone's saying Luigi's hot? And I did not respond. I felt bad about that. But I'm just telling you. So they've taken it in. They're on board.
New life goal. If I go to jail, I just want everyone to talk about how hot I am. That mugshot, though.
Remember the hot felon that was like the guy that had the prison face tattoos? And then he became like a model. And then I think he went back to jail because come to find out he was a felon.
That's so depressing.
I know. I mean,
he was on the straight and narrow, and they're like, oh, I know this business is just about exploiting people for their looks and driving them towards an eating disorder, but you're a felon and we can't have that.
Well, I mean, they brought him in, and then they were like, "Oh, here's this very corrupt world. I'm sure you'll thrive in it.
I'm sure you'll do great.
I'm sure you'll do really well." And come to find out, I think he did for a little while, and
and then didn't.
Like it's like going to rehab, and then someone being like, "You know what? We're going to Coachella, and we're just gonna be Cali sober." We're going to do it.
Cali sober all the way. It's going to be fantastic.
Was it setting him up for success, as we'd say in the old academics?
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, honestly, though, it's a time to be alive. I'm just glad we get to witness this.
Really? I'll check back in January and see how you feel about that.
I mean, we've got to take the joy where we can before.
The joy? Okay, I'm going to pull my Georgia card. The man murdered somebody.
I'm not condoning
on
that.
The street.
I'm just saying, at least we get to have some joy in.
I personally don't feel joy about that man getting murdered. Did he choose a poor line of business? Yes. But I'm not. Well, but then we have to sell
the means.
I mean, I'm a little bit on the fence because on the one hand, I'm like, I'm pretty much a strict pacifist. Like, I think there are some exceptions, but for the most part, I'm like, no, the minute you start legitimizing political violence, like that it gets off the rails too quickly. Like, I'm sure there are people, and if they died, the world would be better, but I don't know that I have the moral, like maturity or insight to decide that. But on the other hand, I'm like, they like we live in such a deeply dehumanizing world that I'm like, of course the memes are funny. I see dead children on my Instagram account every day. Like,
I've been deeply desensitized to seeing murder and gun violence, especially gun violence in the States. And so of course it's not hitting in a like compassionate way. But I also think like at some point.
Well, and we celebrate to bring it to theology, sorry, Chrissy, but to bring it to theology, Bonhoeffer.
Yeah.
What's the first thing people say about Bonhoeffer? Not, oh my God, his theology is so rich and engaging. Okay, sure, maybe some people. But they say what? He tried to kill fucking Hitler.
He did.
Right? Like, that's what people say. Like, he
was conflicted about it, and he knew that it was unethical, and he knew that it was still like bad to murder people, but he felt like he had no other choice. I mean, honestly, it's when we say things like eat the rich, we don't like, you don't think that that's like a cozy little, like, put them in an island and let them live their days out. Like,
we
that's
didn't
not
kill anybody in our Mary Kill F. We banished them to an island, Christy.
We banished people to an island, but we didn't mean it. We were trying to be like PC about it.
I mean, I do believe like there's the verse, you lie down with dogs, you rise up with fleas or whatever. Like, I mean, I do think that you reap what you sow. And like, honestly, it sucks. I don't like murder. I'm with you, Taylor, about pacifism, except I'm a very violent pacifist, especially when it comes to sports. But like, I think, you gotta, it's one of these things where I heard something about, and I don't remember the exact story, but like someone in the NRA or something, like one of the big wigs in the NRA, like their kid messed around with guns and got shot. And I was like, I don't like that.
I don't like that. No, but like consequences.
Their actions have consequences. Yeah. Like that's part of it. And, I feel like there's a little bit of that here that people are like, well,
I think it's also like entirely possible to kind of think about it a la Bonhoeffer and say, while yes, murder in and of itself is wrong and it's terrible for a human to die, any human, it's terrible for any human to die. We also have to recognize like that in pursuit of grander justice.
Well, it's utilitarian to go back to your world, Taylor. It's the utilitarian argument is like, and then the trains right on the tracks. Do you do the
you kill
the one, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting philosophical question in a way, because it is this idea of like, did the death of this man result in the life of many, if you're going from that argument, or was this just revenge? And I think those are like two different arguments in a way. Like they are, because to me it felt like this was not like, oh, if I kill, like a Bonhoeffer argument, like if I kill him, I'll help a bunch of people. Like it felt to me more like I'm pissed off at the system.
Yeah. I mean, like the crazy thing, and this is what all the pundits that I've seen comment on this, including Ben Shapiro, they're like, "What do you think killing one CEO is going to change policy?" And I'm like, but it did. Like it already did. Like Blue Cross Blue Shield was like, "Oh, my bad. You get your anesthesia. You can have anesthesia. We were joking."
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Like 24 hours after this motherfucker got shot, they were like, "Oh, we didn't mean that."
Right. That's it. It's like, and also the question of what does it take to make people change? Like, to take this in the world we live in 2024, to make Blue Cross Blue Shield do what they should be doing ethically, I would argue. Did it take a murder?
Yeah.
In which case, that's the level of ethics that we're living in right now.
And I think that's super important because, like, while obviously Luigi's
I can't.
Sorry.
Sorry, y'all. If you hear me coughing, I've had a lot of things. But I can't with that. You use the first name. There's just something.
Well, his motives were probably revenge and not pure. And like, I mean, we will find many things out, even maybe potentially that like all of this is not what we think it is at this moment. The bigger picture of it, and I think people's reactions to it is more what is the like policy driver. Insurance companies are realizing like, oh, both, like all Americans, both sides of this are celebrating the murder of the CEO. Maybe we do have to roll back some of these horrific policies we had to protect ourselves. They're not doing it out of the graciousness of their heart. They're scared. And what's going to keep them scared is if we continue not murdering people, but continue the kind of bipartisan outrage at insurance companies.
I've not read this is very related, I'm following up, I've not read the Bonhoeffer, the metaxas or the revision of metaxas. I wonder what the reaction was from the confessing church in the moment that he sort of got discovered as doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was their...
They have these conversations as well.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I like, did they think, oh, like, did he become a hero for that later? Or was he a hero immediately? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, I was always under the impression that it was very controversial how much he even was involved. So that's why I was so surprised when they came out with that stupid movie that's out now where it's like spy, assassin, preacher, or whatever the hell it is, and he's got a gun on the movie poster and he's walking like he's fucking Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. Like, my understanding of the situation is that like scholars were not even totally sure exactly what his role is, that it was so minimal.
It was like transferring correspondence. Like he was not going to point and shoot that gun. Like there was...
He wouldn't even have had access to him, I don't think, would he?
No, he had a small role in a pretty like large organized plot, right?
Yeah.
And we've just taken, I mean, I say we because I think even like the constant conversation about him is continuing this, but like he's become the central figure. I don't even know who the other people were that were involved in this.
His brother was one, and his brother had a larger role than he did. Like his brother, I think, was the reason he got flagged. And my knowledge of the situation is that Bonhoeffer got thrown in a concentration camp for something unrelated to the plot. And then when they found his brother, they found out he was connected to that plot. And that's when the Nazis were like, okay, we're going to kill your ass now.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I thought he did get put in because of the plot. Was he just like because he was a part of that?
I think he was helping Jewish people flee. So he had a position. It is some sort of like official. He took a job and he used his job to help people flee. And I'm pretty sure, I could be completely wrong because I'm not a Bonhoeffer. You know, I do Paul Tillich. Like, and his ass got out of there.
We're not. I know. I told Christy today. I was like video messaging her, and I was like, I only know one thing about Paul Tillich. It's in I have my card catalog of theologians, and I was like, correlationism. And then and I just was like, so she asked me about it. That's all I'm going to scream. Correlation.
I love correlation.
Method of correlation.
Karl Barth, I'm like, Jesus.
Bonhoeffer, I'm like, metaxas is wrong.
Right. Bonhoeffer, I'm like, Hitler. Really big on community. If you get a theology degree, you just have this Rolodex, if you're a practical theologian, it's Rolodex, which is an old school term, kids, for a thing that we used to put.
I know what a Rolodex is. So I was raised by my grandma.
There we go. Christy will have a much like near the front brain idea of systematics. Whereas a practical theologian, it's on the back burner, but you still got to know it because the systematics and the philosophical people are like, you don't know. And I'll be like, I'll do like correlationism.
And I just want to state for the record that Leah constantly talks about how she doesn't do systematics, but she uses it all the time
I sure
and
do.
is
Mm.
well qualified to speak on systematic theology.
I know. I like to play. We have to play. I know, but you memorize their stuff and you kind of know what they are.
But we're also three academics, and so we're going to constantly tell people we are not experts on a certain subject, that we are not.
I'm sure not expert. I like to call your podcast Tillich. That's a big statement. Like that would be like.
But Taylor is.
Like, no, I agree. That's what I'm saying. It's a big step. It'd be like us being like Bonhoeffer today. I'd be like, oh God, I don't. Need to read books real quick. Look, here's the deal. I worked at Edinburgh University, and everyone wanted to be a Karl Barth scholar. That was it. Like Karl Barth.
Always.
F it.
Wait, why on earth?
I think it's a penis thing. I don't know.
It feels like a conservative penis thing.
Like it's a conservative penis thing.
And Karl Barth hated Nazis, so they can be like, no, we're conservative, but we're not like that.
Well, he's the smartest, y'all. He's the smartest.
We're transitioning out of conservatives because conservatives don't like Barth. He's
well, if they don't really know, they don't. Yeah, no, it's like academics
only know that he's a universalist, and so they're like, no Barth.
Well, they reject that.
You get those like moderates essentially who are like, he's not a universalist, and we like Barth, and we're like, he is a universalist.
I just need to like get in my modern theologians book, which is over there, and just like pick somebody. Like, oh, we got E.O. Alistair McGrath.
E.O. Alistair. Oh yeah, I have that book too.
Pick one. And we'll just go through and pick one.
I do want to talk about this because it's the three of us. I think obviously Barth is very influential. I have
Justin Martyr. No, I'm not Catholic. I'm not Catholic.
I was like, I have nothing on Justin Martyr in my head.
Zwingli doesn't get a lot of.
I mean, Calvinists, the era, doing some stuff. I don't know.
My favorite thing when I was teaching about theology to undergrads, intro to theology, I would tell them that Zwingli didn't think that you should do anything that isn't specifically permitted in the Bible. And so I'd be like, so put all of your laptops away, delete your Facebook. You're going to have to go change your clothes. Like literally everything about your life right now, not okay, Zwingli standards. And they would look a little bit panicked for a second. And I'd be like, it's fine, guys. And
I think this is my last one, but I think the Middle Ages is a really good place. Like no one's like, you know what I'm going to do? The Middle Ages. So there's like Joachim of Fiore and Dante Alighieri.
Dante's in
What is that? Dante? Oh, okay. Dante. All right, well then, okay.
Dante basically invented hell.
Yeah. But have you heard of Joachim of Fiore?
I have not. Is he related to River Phoenix and Joaquin Phoenix?
That's Alistair McGrath. I don't know. I think that's what we should do.
No, I think
I'm not going to get obsessive about it and look up everything about that guy because I'm a nerd.
I think there's a sense like when you're first starting out, like when you started your master's and like you're kind of thinking about like serious study, but you're not really, you only have a Rolodex of so many, right? You have to, the main 10 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a tendency to get a little bit kind of stuck on whoever was the most influential for you in that time period.
Mm.
And I genuinely think a lot of people have like significant nostalgia about Barth in that. And so they're like, I'm going to study Barth. And I mean, the man wrote a lot. Like you can't deny he's also wildly influential. So I get some extent of it, but like there's too many people now. It's the market is saturated. You need to do something else.
Which is why I'm excited for you, Taylor, doing the Paul Tillich thing, because I don't think I worked at two Scottish universities that love them some systematics. I don't think I ever met a Tillich
I know one other
scholar.
Yeah. No, I started this because I found a Karl Barth podcast on Spotify. And I was like, actually, I'll do that, but I'll do it for Paul Tillich.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's literally how I got the idea to do the podcast. Is some grad student was writing a dissertation on Karl Barth, and he thought he would interview people for a Karl Barth podcast.
I think it's a genius idea, and I think too that there needs to be. I just think more people need to venture into more of like we have a lot about Barth. Let's do some other people. Tillich is great. Let's talk about Moltmann. Let's talk about maybe some women.
Moltmann's got a lot of women. That might be nice.
I mean, Tillich is weird, and like my podcast, and I am a weird person because like when someone comes to me and they say, "Do you like Tillich or Barth?" I'm obviously going to be like, "Well, I like Tillich," but the reason I like Tillich has nothing whatsoever to do with Christianity. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing systematic theology. And so, so the whole conversation is always very weird to me because they're like, but Barth did this better. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't use Tillich for any of that. So it literally doesn't matter to me.
Matter.
I understand Tillich is basically an atheist. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you start to really analyze some theologians, a lot of them kind of sound like they are anyway. So.
Pretty much.
I think especially when you start looking at the stuff that they do later in life, you're like, oh, like this person has some, let's say, interesting ideas, whatever direction they've gone. Later in life, theologians are always a bit of a trip. But,
oh my gosh. I can't wait. I'm going to burn the whole place down. Just
weird things.
All these books, I'm just going to take them and pile them up.
But like,
I was going to ask what drew you to Tillich, if not from the systematic point of view.
Like existentialism. I always tell people he's really an existential philosopher. He only becomes a theologian properly speaking, when he moves to the United States. Because in the U.S., right, there are seminaries and they're very distinct from philosophy programs, and that's been the case more and more into the modern period. But in Europe, this is still kind of the case, I think. But even more so when Tillich was doing his research in the early 20th century, philosophy and theology, like you have to do philosophy in order to do theology. You can't consider yourself a theologian if you're not engaging with like Immanuel Kant and Hegel and a lot of these thinkers. So Tillich is writing a lot about existentialism and socialism and Weimar and that kind of thing. So those two things drew me to him. And then because of the theological context, I had to focus a lot on systematic theology. But I always tell people, like, I would never teach systematic theology in a class on Tillich. I teach every other thing he wrote except systematic theology.
Well, I mean, I think some of the questions are the same if you look at philosophy and systematics. I mean, even when I was talking about the murdering of that dude, and you were talking about pacifism, and I started talking about utilitarianism and the train thing. I mean, I have a psych degree, and we learned that they all start to kind of come together in a way, because it's like, what does it mean? Why are we here? To an extent, what happens when we die? To an extent, are we mind, body, soul? Like those things were stuff that those early Greek people were digging into, and I think they transfer into theology in a different way, of course, because you have a different framework that you're operating with. But I think some of the questions are the same.
I mean, go on.
And I think a lot of it overlaps so much. And I wish that we were better at having conversations across the fields. Like, I don't like how siloed academics can become, and like the ways that we think, oh, well, this is my field, so I'm only going to talk to these people, or I'm only going to attend these sessions at conferences or whatever, because you're missing out on these massively important conversations or insights or ways that things are viewed from different perspectives. And I just think, like, if we could get rid of some of those discipline boundaries, we would be doing so much better in terms of what kind of scholarship comes out.
And my gripe as a person who really wants to work at a state school is people see that I'm a theologian. And it's kind of the opposite of you, Taylor. They probably assume you do Paul Tillich, so you do theology, right? They assume that. Whereas in in my world, they assume that because I do theology, that I'm going to come into a class on world religions and be like, well, here are all the dumb religions.
Yeah.
And here's the one that's important. Jesus.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's a problem for me too. I mean, I mostly like it's a problem for me because I can't get hired at a seminary or like a very religious school because they do see that I, have Paul Tillich in my dissertation and they see that all of my research is like either it's not really Christian and it's not really even theology properly. Like it's ethics, but it's ethics on some topic, right? So I have whole research papers where I don't say anything about theology, like whatsoever. It's just straight up philosophy, or I'm just like I've got one research paper that's going in a sociology journal, and it's just a group research paper on like afterlife belief and changing trends that I did at the research center. But it's like, so they don't want me because they're like, you're obviously not Christian enough for us. Like you're not going to teach, church dogmatics. You're not going to teach seminary students. And then like, even though I work at 2 philosophy departments right now, when I apply to jobs that are tenure track, either they tell me, well, don't even apply because you have a degree from a seminary. So obviously you can't teach philosophy. Or like, yeah, that's, or I just, I don't make it because they want someone that's hyper focused in philosophy on some narrow ass topic that 3 people in the world know anything about.
It's crazy to me. I get really frustrated about this because I've gotten, since coming out of the UK, I think the UK understood a lot of those interdisciplinary aspects a lot better than American schools do. I've gotten so many people being like, well, you don't have a real master's degree because it's from a seminary. And I'm like, my master's degree is twice as long as yours, firstly.
Also, I took Greek and Hebrew. Stop.
I'm like, it is academic as hell. I learned, like, I don't understand this, like, I understand the roots of it, and like people have espoused to me that, oh, well, seminaries used to be undergrad degrees, and like we used to all sorts of things, and people have seemed to gain new information, especially in academia. Why can't y'all gain new information about this? But there is an anti-seminary kind of stance, I think, and then people get very confused about the UK degree over here. Like, what is this? Where are your transcripts? And I'm like,
when I think too, Christy knows this. I applied to a job at a state school, which I shall not mention. And they actually told me, keep in mind, Reverend Dr. Leah Robinson. They didn't tell me, but they hired someone who was basically like a chaplain at another university. And I was like, so I wasn't Christian enough.
Oh my God.
And it was like, this was a state school.
Yeah.
And yes, it was a state school in the South, I will say.
Yeah.
But still, like I was trying to downplay it. I was like, yes, I have all of these qualifications, but I can also teach world religion, theory of religions, religion in America, all of this stuff. I can teach history classes too, like my degree's in history, my PhD, and it's like in politics.
Yeah.
And they were like, and they hired this person who was, and I would say objectively, this is not even me being like an ego thing. Like I sent Christy this person, like it was very clear that it was because they were religious, more religious. And I'm like, I'm a reverend. What do you? But I thought they wanted me to downplay it because it was a state school.
It's so wild to me.
So you have to fit in this like perfect little piece.
The like massive amounts of unspoken qualifications that you have to get a job in academia. And then on top of that, I mean, the rampant sexism that is still deeply, deeply happening.
I mean, it was a guy who got the job, and
it always is. I mean, it's crazy. I was talking about a former colleague and the kinds of things that he used to say, and I was like, I can't believe that he never got fired. And one of my friends was like, I can't believe you're asking that question. He's a man. And I was like, right. I was just thinking, like, if I had said those things, it would have been a totally different scenario. But
And that's probably to do with, well, I won't bring that up. That was before we started recording. But it's a lot to do with how we negotiate spaces in terms of office and we're working once. I remember I was head of theology and ethics when I was the only female in the department. We later got someone who did a different religion that came in the department, but I was the only female Christian academic in a department of, I would say, like 20, 25 people. And they put me as head of theology, and even negotiating that space was an insane thing. Like, it was like the stuff that people are like, women are from Mars, men are from Venus, or white women are from Venus, whatever.
Venus,
At points in academia, I was like, that might be true.
Yeah.
Like, I still adhere to the Judith Butler, whatever gender social construct. But like, there were times when I was talking and I was like, we're not even on the same wavelength here. Like,
no, I've had it up to here with people in the academy, especially men who, I don't know, I told you this before, but just like for people to call me entitled, not to say who was saying those things, but like, for academics who have everything at their disposal and have never struggled and immediately got a job, to then turn around and be like, oh, you're so entitled because you want to be treated well. It's, how entitled could you be?
Always that. It is always like, I'm a feminist. I'm super supportive of women. I want to help women, blah, blah. And then you're like, okay, here's a woman. And they're like, oh, not that one, though.
Yeah. Here's a woman who wants a position of power that you also want. Oh, no, but I deserve the position of power. Mm-hmm. I deserve the grant money. I deserve the job. Fuck you.
Yeah. And then it's like, 10 times worse if it's a woman of color. But like, you just watch these men who will go and teach brilliant lectures about, feminist theology or whatever, racial equality. And they're like saying all of these things. And then you go and you're like, hey, can you, do this tiny thing to support me in my work? Oh, no.
I learned that real hard at Edinburgh. That was a really hard. I had got my PhD at Edinburgh and I knew it because I was in this little tiny corner of like the Marcellas and the Cecilias of the world, and it was a very lovely corner. And then I went to the Heather Walton world at Glasgow. Then I came back to Edinburgh as an academic, and it was interesting too because because I was the only woman in my group, because Edinburgh at the divinity school is quite huge, so they divide up they have like a science and religion group, which is what Tripp was a part of, in Sarah Lane Ritchie, and then you have like theology and ethics, which is what I was a part of, and history of Christianity. So it was almost the opposite of like what we were talking about. It's very Christian focused, but like you were kind of in your group, and I was the only woman in that group, and so I made these, what I would consider friends within that group. But then I realized when things would happen, they would show up. But I found what was interesting is when anyone, like what was happening behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I got challenged by anything, or was I doing proper theology because I was a practical theologian, which is a little bit of the chip on the shoulder that I have about that. And so I think it's that they can categorize you as not doing proper.
Yeah.
In your case, Taylor philosophy or whatever, or theology, it doesn't matter. But like they somehow, and people of color as well, like, oh, they're liberation theologian, or they're not doing.
You have an agenda.
Yeah.
You have an agenda.
No, that's true though. If you talk about anything that's even slightly contextual, it's like, well, you're not unbiased. I'm actually, me as a straight white man, I'm more capable of evaluating this situation because I don't have a stake in it. And it's like, okay, but I'm telling you that these are experiences that lots of people have. There's data on it. And I'm trying to and it just doesn't matter. I was talking to is it George? Is that how you say his name?
George.
Gorg?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm terrible at pronunciation. We had a Zoom recently. We were talking about, his program at Vanderbilt, and I was complaining about all these people, and he was like, Taylor, as soon as you open your mouth about Appalachia or about sexism or about any of the issues you care about, they're going to say you're just like a Marxist and a leftist, and you got a chip on your shoulder, and they're immediately like, they're not going to hear you. And I was like, that's probably true.
I was presenting bad theology at Edinburgh when I first had the idea. It wasn't even a book. It was just the idea. And there was it won't be hard to figure out, but a very important scholar at Edinburgh who is very high up in a lot of things and called me a Marxist. He goes, "Are you a Marxist?" And I was like,
I love how that's just like an insult with no context. You're a Marxist. What if I am?
But you know what sucked about it is that there was all of his grad students that were there, which was legion to use the biblical phrase. And like my friends that I talked about, my theology guys, and then so they heard him say that. And to me, it wasn't so much that he was asking me a question, it was that he was discrediting what I was doing. And I thought that was really just not really needed. We don't do the same things. Like, it didn't need to happen, but it just was like, that was your question out of this whole hour presentation that we had to do, that you were like, oh, so you're Mark.
Yeah, it's just a dismissal.
You're contextual. Yeah, because you're right. Like,
that's why I hate debate. Like, I hate debate. I refuse to do debates because debate is about just making your opponent look bad and discrediting them and persuading other people that they're stupid. It has nothing to do. And I also don't like presenting in some formats because that's the response you get, is just people trying to cut you down. It's not it's not genuine.
It's not
like, I have a question. It's coming, but here's the paper I would have written.
Yeah, it's not a genuine, like, let's learn about each other. It's more like, let me see who's loudest and who's going to yell enough. And one of the things that, like, when it happened, I really appreciated it. And I thought, yeah, this is great advice. And I have a really complicated feeling about it now, but I look back and I'm like, good Lord, the sexism. Is that when I was getting advice, as I was looking at PhD programs and looking into going into all this, all of the advice I got was not said this explicitly, but it was essentially, become as much of a man as you can possibly become.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do everything exactly the right way. You have to go to the right school. You have to do the right dissertation. You have to, and it's true, you do have to do way more to compensate for the fact that you're not a straight white man, right? You can't get away with the kind of stuff that a lot of them are going to get away with. But like, they also would say things like, make sure you're really loud, make sure that you wear certain things, make sure that your presence is as masculine as it can be. Like, don't be overtly feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool, I can do that for the most part. I can be loud. I have a big, loud family. That was fine. And then I got to Glasgow, and Heather, my supervisor, is a very feminine woman and very soft-spoken. She's very British, so like quiet. And then all I heard from people was like, oh, we need to protect her. We need to defend her, as if this woman had not like done it herself for decades, because she was the first female theologian faculty at an ancient university ever. This university is over 500 years old. She's the first.
She was my first boss at academics, and she was terrifying.
She's a terrifying woman, but she
did not need to be protected.
Yeah.
She does not need to be protected. But she is terrifying in a very feminine kind of way. And I just remember looking back and thinking, what horrible advice I was getting was essentially like, hide the femininity, don't be a woman, like, try as hard as you can to become a man. Don't be transgender though either, but that, like,
yeah.
But like, you've got to do everything in your power to not be this. And then I was having this example of a woman not following those rules, and people still, and she's super I mean, she's a full professor at Glasgow.
She has her own name chair for herself.
Yeah, she's done the thing. And people are still like, oh, poor Heather, poor Heather. And I'm like, no, let her let her be. Like
Yeah.
she can do it. But it's crazy how
But
much.
also, I think she did it in a way where you were talking earlier about advisors and stuff, Taylor. She did it. So for me, she wasn't my advisor. She's Christy's advisor, but she was my boss. But as a young female academic who was just starting, it was my postdoc. It was my first job. She was like, here's what you need to do. And it was so selfless. Like I could tell she wanted me to succeed. And I think that's a difference. Is like, it was very thorough.
Yeah.
If you look at Christy's bibliography, you'll see why she knows the past. She knows how women have been treated in the past. So she wants you to succeed, but she's paranoid that you won't.
Yeah.
And so she wants you to click all the boxes. But where I am now, I wouldn't be without Heather. Absolutely. Yeah. Looking out. And I think that's what you're supposed to do is like, and I think Christy and I pride ourselves on that is like, we want to be what we had as supervisors, you know, and to help women to, even in our own fields, like
whatever I can do to support other women in academia, I'm going to do it because I'm not here without other women, like at all. I'm not here without Leah. I'm not here without Heather. There's other women I can name. And I love the men who helped me along the way too, but I also, it was never like, it wasn't the same kind of support, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like there has to be some amount of solidarity. So it's like, just whatever I can possibly do to help them.
Yeah.
I'll ragged to do it if I can, but
I mean, like my process, and even before academia, it was this way, but especially when I got into grad school, the hard thing for me was like I was in this weird middle ground. So I wasn't a dude, and I didn't come from a wealthy family, and I wasn't a conservative, and like all these qualities that might have put me in touch with some side of, you know, my graduate program. I didn't really possess those, right? At the same time, even though I had like a strong sense of, I guess, social justice, and I was very much involved in like leftist politics, and my studies were all around like political economy and ethics and that kind of thing. Like I felt like my southernness, like my white southernness got in the way. And so I felt pretty mistreated by, you know, people who could have been allies there too, like just constantly shitting on me for being from the South, saying like, well, Appalachia's not a real culture. You're just a white bitch. Like what, you know, why are you always antagonizing people? Like it got bad. Like I was tossed out of class. I wasn't allowed to teach. It was very, like it got very bad. So I was like, huh?
No, and I will say, Taylor, you know, you've kept the accent. I sounded like you when I was in high school, if not a deeper. I mean, it was the same. When I hear you, I hear my mom. Like,
I mean, mine used to be worse. It was just, I think, well, and I also think like,
I understand one of those things is it's like we spent our entire life feeling like, and again, this is a different kind of like it's not oppression, I would say, but it's a different kind of stereotype. We spent our entire life, me opening my mouth and people being like, "Oh, you're a racist.
Yeah,
like you're an idiot." And they prioritize that. You hear these comedians that'll, you know, you see these things, and it's like, okay, like you've got an accent for comedy. What they mean is you have a Southern accent, and so it's one of those things where I think I loved where I lived. I loved the culture. I loved the stuff. I knew the history. Trust me.
Yeah.
We never didn't know the history. They told us, and we got told over and over and over again that we were the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to go out with this voice that people already think means you're dumb.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah,
you know,
they do.
People think, why do they vote the way they do? Come on.
I mean, like my thing too, though, when I came to grad school, I mean, I wanted to distinguish the fact that I'm from Appalachia, right? And I was like, it's not the South. Like it is a distinct subculture. It has a different history, still a racist history, still a sexist history in so many ways, but a very different history, and a history of like real substantial oppression on the basis of, you know, like the fact that there are resources specifically in Appalachia that people outside of Appalachia want. And so I would talk about that in class, and it would just rub people the wrong way. And I think one of the things that set me apart and made me not someone that people felt like they could be allies with, is that I wouldn't like acquiesce. I would be like, look, I think I have white privilege. I think I can pass better than the average person, right? I mean, I can just look nice and talk nice, and no one has to know where I'm from or my background. And a black woman can't do that, right? So I get it. It's different. At the same time, I was like, there's real oppression down there. Like, there's real struggle. And I'm not going to pretend that, like, me and, the scholar whose parents have PhDs and they just happen to be a different color than me, that, like, somehow I'm in my current position, infinitely more privileged. Like, and that would make people mad, because the class element came in, and in the academy, people cannot acknowledge like class privilege. They can acknowledge every other kind of privilege, but they cannot acknowledge economic privilege.
I think classism is a thing that America doesn't want to recognize because it's supposed to not be real here. We understand classism exists in Europe, in old countries, right? That's built-in classism. America was supposed to be equal opportunity. The American dream is all about class being not real, and you can be whatever you want, and it's not true. But we don't have any like good way of explaining that or understanding it or really allowing it to be something we acknowledge, because we're so tightly grasping on to this belief that America is better than Europe, or it different than Europe or something.
Yeah.
It just isn't. Like
Our
classism.
politics are based on that lie.
Yeah, well,
It's yeah.
Europeans.
No, I mean it's literally, though, it's based on the lie that this nation was built by, poor kind of like vagabonds that just came over here with nothing. And it's like, motherfucker, like every founding father they had land and they had slaves and they had privilege, with the exception of a few. Like, and they wrote it into the documents that, like, you got to own land to vote. What are we on about?
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
and I think you're right about the poverty aspect. Like, it's a big one. Sorry, Christy.
No, go ahead.
No, that was it. I mean, I just think that region, like I would say, I'm from the foothills of Appalachia, probably not what you would consider Appalachia, and I would agree with that. Like, but I mean, the way they treated us in high school, in public high school, where they were like, we had a lot of like, become a nurse, become a mechanic. We had a mechanic thing. And it was like the college prep was very low. We did not have a college counselor. So I had no idea how to get scholarships, how to do any of that stuff. Because the idea was that you were going to stay there and you were going to become a manual laborer of some persuasion. And you might go to school, but it probably was for a practical profession or whatever. And I think there was just this idea that there was such low expectations. What does that do to people,
Yeah.
Like when you just say, well, we don't really think you as a collective are going to do anything. And
it ruins them.
Right.
It's not like this is how I teach. People think it's crazy that I assign some of the things that I do to undergrads. And I'm like, no, like they'll rise to the occasion. And if they have trouble, I will step in and help them meet my expectations. Like, when you treat people like they're dumb bags of shit, they're going to probably, the consequence is going to be, they're going to be dumb bags of shit. Like,
yeah. And people are like, how does this keep happening? Like, what is the, well, because you had these Irish people who came and worked and did all this stuff. And then, they weren't the ones who owned the land. Speaking of Appalachia,
no.
They didn't like that they weren't the plantation owners. Those people were still plantation owners. And this is not to defend the South at all. Like and I think I immediately get a catch in my breath anytime I say something like what I just said. Because I'm like, people, oh no, they're going to think I'm defending slavery. Absolutely not. That's not what's happening. I would never do that. But I mean, there is a part of me growing up, a lot like what you said, is I don't want to feel like a dumb, racist piece of shit all the time. And that I'm never going to be able to do anything because I talk the way I talk. And, we had I've told this story on the podcast before, but I had an elocution person that came into our class that made us do the brown box jumps over the log, because she said, you'll never go to college if you talk the way you talk.
Yeah. No, it's awful. I and like the crazy thing about Appalachia too that I try to remind people of is like, number one, most of the people who immigrated to Appalachia didn't want to be there. Like they were moved from a place in Scotland to Appalachia because it was like, well, there's some dumb white people here, and we can move them to Appalachia, and they can be sort of like the barrier between the untamed West and the civilized colonies. So like most of the people in Appalachia did not come in trying to take people's land, right? Like it was not some settlement project. Yeah, and then like even
colony.
yeah, Georgia. But then even like, 100 or so years later, less than 100, when you get to the Civil War, like whole states in Appalachia split because of that. Like West Virginia is the most Appalachian state in this whole union, and they only exist because they're like, no, we don't own slaves, we don't fuck with slavery. We do your own thing, South. Like do your own thing.
That's why North Carolina exists as well. It's split from South Carolina.
I mean, that's why my county exists. It's like Appalachia was really split. It was not, clear cut.
It's a person from not the South. It's
sorry, we're on our.
I want to like a few things. One is that I took a class in undergrad. It was like theory of pop culture or something, and we talked specifically about accents and the ways that we rank accents. And yeah, Southern accent was always the bottom, right? We assume bad things about people who have a Southern accent. English accents were the top. Like we assume that they're highly educated and more
You're Hugh Grant.
Like yeah, we just assume.
Well, not the Cockney though, right? Not when they're like, "Oh, bruv, what you doing now, bruv? Go out." I'm just bad accent.
This is the time it was Hugh Grant's accent. It was a shocker when I moved over there, and I was like, actually, not at all, right? But one of the things I think I got into, and I kind of feel like thankful for being able to study this and think about it a lot, is how like cultural aspects, cultural ties and things like that are good and important. And this is part of who we identify as. And like Leah and I joke all the time about where our loyalties stand, and like that I always talk about being from Colorado and she's always talking about being from Georgia and stuff. But those are actually good things. Like it's a good thing for us to be able to say, like, here's a culture that I'm part of and love. You have to be able to say, here are the bad parts about it, right? Like none of us are from perfect utopias, so we have to acknowledge those things. But I do think it's really a problem when we try to then say, I don't like your culture, or your culture doesn't count, or your culture is less than somehow. And it usually ends up becoming just really racist, because we usually start defaulting into certain cultures being like less good or human or whatever. But like, I think if we had a better sense of our cultural histories and why we're tied and what those do to make us who we are, and like why I think we would be less upset about other people being different from us.
Yeah.
I love hearing y'all talk about your cultures. I think it's great. It makes me want to learn more about all of these places. I don't know a lot about Appalachia or Georgia. Also, as a side note, one of my students yelled at me for saying Appalachia. They were like, "What did you just say?" And I was like, "That's how you say it." And they were like,
"How you say it? It's not.
That's how you say it. It's not Appalachia.
It's not Appalachia.
Your student might be dumb. Have they checked? Have they checked that out?
I am in a certain.
I'm sorry, I'm just joking.
It's definitely Appalachia.
Yeah, it's Appalachia.
It's just, I think if we could genuinely like, here are the things that are good and bad about my culture. Here's why here's why I enjoy these things, because of the cultural things that shaped me, then we could be like, oh, now tell me about yours, and actually appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, just to bring it like full circle, I guess, and back to like why I think people are so, they do not give a shit that a CEO got gunned down in the street, is like, so like, yes, the Academy and it's sexist and there's a lot of problems in there, but like what I've had the most trouble contending with out of all of that is just the elitism there and the money that's involved and the fact that like half of the conversations you have about ethics and social justice, like they almost have to discard places like Appalachia because Appalachia is an example of a deeply unjust economic system. Like Appalachia is proof that capitalism does not need a particular person at the bottom. It just needs people at the bottom and a narrative that keeps them stationary. And like they can't talk about that. They can't fit, like a place like Boston University cannot talk about the fact that like they have a data science center that is dependent upon mining in fucking Appalachia. Like they, that can't be a part of their justice framework. So they have to pivot and they have to talk about racism without capitalism. They have to talk about sexism without capitalism. Like, and it's all bullshit,
I mean, it really is. Capitalism is just the epitome of all of these horrible bigotries coming together and exploding. And we have tons and tons of people who are suffering under that we haven't been honest to. And they think, because we keep telling them, like, if we vote this way or do these things or whatever, we'll make a lot of money and we can become Elon Musk. We can't. We are always infinitely closer to being homeless than we are to being Elon Musk. I am never going to have $1 billion. Like I don't have that kind of inheritance. I don't have those connections. I don't have the desire or the evilness within me. But like,
I'll take some Christy if you want.
I mean, you got to be evil. You got to step on people. You got to step on people to get to those heights. That's what we don't tell people.
Yeah, like I was just talking to one of my friends last night. So a couple of my good friends back in the Springs own a brewery that is
Colorado Springs, guys, in case you don't know the translation.
Sorry, the Colorado
Springs.
The spring.
Taylor, we can just start throwing some Appalachian terms around.
I forget.
I'm from the Noog. The Noog.
I'm out.
You go down to the NARS.
Did you see on my mug is the blue bear from the Denver Convention Center? Do you recognize the blue bear?
I sure do.
Giant blue bear.
I mean, I like Denver. Denver was nice, other than we weren't really in Denver, but
we were not in Denver. I'm going to take y'all. We're going to have a real Colorado trip. It's going to be fantastic. No, so my friends owned a brewery and they just announced yesterday that they're closing, and it's a very long story behind it. But to be perfectly frank, they got screwed by several people who took advantage of them and their like trustworthiness. And so now they're bankrupt, and a lot of people are out of jobs. And it's an award-winning brewery. It was doing really well. It was always busy. It wasn't like they just sucked at this thing. And so I was talking with one of my friends, and he was like, I hate to tell them, but like owning your own business is basically just like playing roulette with your life, because you're never going to have the safety net of things like unemployment or severance or whatever. And I was like, and that is exactly the problem, because we think I can own my own business and I'm going to make a ton of money and it's going to change my life. But actually, it just makes you very vulnerable. Like,
yes, Jeremy, I thought about buying a bar at one stage, and all you're saying is correct, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it works out, but most of the time it doesn't. And
right.
And like good people who did really good work are, gonna.
And it sucks because it takes the creativity out of humankind in a way, because it's like, okay, well, I mean, Stuart works for a bank where he's at right now. I work for a university, and it's like we talked about owning a bar, and that would be cool and that'd be fun, and we have enough investment. We're very lucky in our house that we could do that. But you're right. It's like it's much safer just to slog along with the man.
It's so much safer to not take risks, because we've set the system up. And yeah, like you said, it completely stifles any kind of creative work. Artists have a really hard time actually doing anything good and artistic because they have to do what makes the money. And that's been true forever, And
then we go again full circle to your Taylor. You can't just, because guess who's paying our insurance? That is United, by the way, I will say. That man that's at the bank
I
right
think
now.
I just switched to United, and I'm having a lot of angst about that.
I mean, it's just, I was even thinking about this with like my Instagram account today. Like I do pretty well on Instagram, but I am just a part of the product, like I am making the content that people like. I'm not making the only content, but I'm making some of the content that people come to that godforsaken hell site to see. And yeah, like at any point in time, like what happened today, Instagram can just be like, no, no, because they have an army of free labor, and that's their whole business model is just setting up the algorithm and then like
Making any money off of the Instagram.
no.
Like, this is not
Like when we all went to Blue Sky, I was like, or a lot of us went to Blue Sky. I'm like, how long before Blue Sky becomes?
I mean, eventually it will. At the moment, it's fine, but like, it will succumb. Like everything does. MySpace went that way eventually.
MySpace.
I loved MySpace. I'm just hoping that the Onion is able to buy InfoWars, because I am very pissed off about how that developed. And if they're not able to buy it, I hope it's just another layer on the class war.
I thought they already bought it.
No, a judge reversed the decision.
No, why?
So what happened, my understanding of what happened is that they bought it. The Sandy Hook victims were fine with it. They were like, this is amazing. We love this. They helped the Onion and the Sandy Hook victims got together. But then a judge ruled that the process hadn't been fair because there had been higher bidders. And I think those higher bidders were more conservative leaning people, right, who don't want to just make fun of InfoWars. So then they took back the whole the purchase, and now they're going to have to go through it again, but it's up in the air because the Sandy Hook families are like, no, we wanted this. Like, we were perfectly willing to take less so that the Onion could get this. And there's a judge that's just like trying to intervene in that process because obviously, nobody who's a wealthy elite likes the Onion.
The Onion buying InfoWars was the exact right thing to happen. And
I needed that after this election. When I saw that pop up on my phone, I was like, thank you, God. Literally. I was like, this is reaffirming your existence, is that this happened. So I'm real sad to hear it didn't go through, actually.
That's exactly it, though. It's just a continuation of maintaining classes. So real change can't happen.
I mean, it's getting so bad, though. I mean, like, of course somebody got shot, because you can't take every opportunity for people to just release some energy or to vent or to even, like, no one's even keeping up the illusion that it's not rigged anymore. Like, that's the thing that I think leaders don't quite understand, is it's like, no, everyone's mad because you're not even giving them the American dream. Like, you're full kind of like mask off right now. Like, if someone can't even buy the goddamn InfoWars, if the Onion can't even have InfoWars, of course more people are going to get shot.
I mean, honestly, like, you think about, if I owned something, I own nothing. You
got Penny, you're fine.
Okay, we're going to talk about your house, Leah. I'm going to pretend like if Leah's like, we're going to sell our house, and
we'll die in this house.
And one of the bids is lower, but you get like a letter that says like, here's why I want to buy your house. And you're like, you know what? I want to sell this person, even though I'm getting a higher offer from this other person. I'm going to go with this one.
That's actually a very common thing.
It's a very common. It's perfectly legal and correct. You are allowed to do that. So it's absolutely absurd.
My parents sold their house in Georgia recently, and the people, it wasn't the highest bid, but the people wrote, and they're like, we have a family that has a boy and a girl. That was like what my parents had. And they're like, we love your setup. This is going to be our family home.
This is how much Amanda got her house. So she wrote a letter. Like, I'm going to live here and I'm not going to flip it. And the guy was like, yeah, I want that.
Yeah. Well, you're allowed to do that. Like, the people don't have to accept it, but you're allowed to do it.
You're allowed to, but like, we can't say that you're not allowed to do that with InfoWars.
I don't know what the precise things are, but that's what I heard, is that the judge was like, oh, this doesn't look right because the Onion bought it. And I'm sure someone was mad about it. I don't know.
Judge or something.
I mean, like,
again, it's someone who doesn't like the Onion.
It's the continuation of trying to not let us talk. It's why TikTok is going away.
I think TikTok is going away realistically because of Palestine. I know that sounds conspiratorial, but that's my thought.
It's Palestine, and it's the app that has allowed people to organize more than other apps, and that is.
I think that's a part of. I mean, Palestine's a part of it, but I think it's. But also, it's hard for me to judge how I don't know if there is right wing stuff on TikTok because my algorithm is so mine.
There's definitely a manosphere on TikTok.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. I'm not in it, so it's going to shock everyone to know.
The only reason I know that right wing TikTok exists is because of accounts that respond to them, and so I'm like, oh. I mean,
there's libs of TikTok too.
Yeah, there's that,
which is terrible. But I mean, I don't know. People seem to be coming around on big issues. I mean, I guess that's why I'm so frustrated with the election, because the whole fucking election cycle, I was just like, just talk about healthcare. Just talk about fucking healthcare. Talk about jobs. Talk about getting people into houses. And they just they wouldn't do that. And even now with this CEO thing, the last thing anyone wants to hear is, well, you're a piece of shit because you don't feel sorry for the billionaire that we spent millions of dollars and a week's worth of resources that we would never spend on you to track down his killer.
Especially the same day that the guy who killed that guy on the subway in New York gets acquitted. I'm like, yeah. No. I mean, you cannot have a more obvious news cycle than that right there. And the fact that they still had that meeting, the man got shot and they were like, but we got to get to this meeting. I mean, even he didn't matter enough, Yeah. They didn't even care about him.
I will just say the whole point, and this is just because it's Christmas time, the whole point of A Christmas Carol is that you have to put the fear of God in the rich to make them empathetic.
Yes.
That is the moral of A Christmas Carol, is that rich people have to be scared into doing the right thing.
Dickens hated rich people. All of his books are about how horrible rich people are.
I mean, his entire
collection.
His entire collection, and that Chrissy's more the book person, but his entire collection is Oliver Twist, that's Dickens, right?
Oliver Twist.
No, it's not like
A Tale of Two Cities. Pippin.
Come on.
Or Pip.
Come on.
Dickens' least popular book is a book called Hard Times, which is the first Dickens book.
Still sounds like it's right there, though.
It is hard to read. It is. It's why I'm not a fan of Dickens. But Dickens' entire reason for existing is to be rich people suck and they are trying to kill you. So we just need to start. I'm going to start teaching Dickens again in my class.
I forever will reference that book, though, that Strangers in Their Own Land. That book changed my life so much, and I hope people read it. Hochschild. Hochschild. And I just think, just to see the perspective of people from the Deep South who, they just don't see people, they don't see themselves as being the way that Taylor and I reflected on Appalachia. They see themselves as still participating in the American dream. And just the sociology behind it, I think it's so important just to realize that people always say, oh, why is the South not voting in their own interest? And it's they don't know. They don't know that it's not in their own interest. And it's not because they're stupid, and it's not because they have an accent.
Yeah.
It's because they've been sold this thing that if you work hard and you work really hard, and then everyone else who's getting all these things aren't working hard.
Yeah. I mean, no one wants to see themselves as poor. Right. But I mean, in Appalachia's defense, Appalachia was very much a blue collar region up until about the 70s and 80s, and then just it went red in the 90s because of Clinton. But I mean, part of that was the Civil Rights Act. But it wasn't just the Civil Rights Act. People want to pretend that it was a progressive region, but then they didn't want to give anything to black people, so they switched. And that's not quite what happened. There was a lot of racism motivating that turn, but it was also the Democrats themselves pivoted more towards high finance and taking care of more urban voters, and moved away from that New Deal FDR style programming. And so at that point, no one in the South really has a good reason to keep voting Democrat. I mean, they do have good reasons to vote Democrat, but it's like the working class emphasis is gone. And so it's like, of course, the turn is easier. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
I'd say Reagan did a lot of that stuff too. I mean, I think
Reagan did a lot of it. And then when Bill Clinton came in and he signed NAFTA and the jobs went away, that's when people were like, all right, fuck all of you guys, because that textile was all we had other than mining. And now all we have is getting black lung.
I think that there's also a lot to be said in instilling a fear of someone or an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we all have that. There is someone that we instinctively hate. Okay. And regardless of how much
Christy, it's you, just saying.
We hate each other. But we have this, and this is why people talk about things like anti-racism instead of just not being racist, right? It's because you have to recognize the ways that you've been taught and the ways that you instinctively are racist instead of just no one in my family is ever in the KKK, so I'm not going to be like, oh, here's that. But what kinds of things have we done, and what kinds of ways have I been racist, and that kind of stuff. But also, like, when you as a culture are being told, this is the enemy, this is the enemy, this is the enemy, and that's been going on for decades, essentially you're gonna say, like, that's the enemy.
Yeah.
Even if you do know better, you're still gonna be like, no, but that's the enemy. Like, somebody over.
And when you
South Park.
And when you hear that you're the enemy, you're gonna start to think that you are.
They took our jobs.
Sideways Canadian heads.
I'm not your buddy, guy. Well, I'm not your guy, buddy.
I just love all the Canadians have the sideways heads. I like to remind Byron of it often, that he's a sideways talker.
I tell people this constantly. If you want to know, like, if you want some good social commentary on like real things, cartoons made for adults are like Simpsons and South Park and Family Guy. Like, they are a lot more intelligent than they get credit for.
South Park is my favorite. I mean, they predicted like every election.
It's hilarious. It's really hard to be like, to be able to talk about South Park, because we just start inevitably being like, here's what's accurate. I'm going to start explaining jokes to you. Like, there's so much inside stuff. We get really annoying about it. So.
King of the Hill has a great thing where they're going to support the University of Texas, which I will say, bring it back to sports. And the Bobby, the little kid's like, why do I feel like my whole life is over right now? Because Texas is lost. And I was like, this is what sports does to you. This is like, if you don't like sports, don't ever like sports, because you don't need another reason to feel like you're dead inside.
You don't. Also, one time, and this is a genuinely true story, I was at a bar and this guy came up and we were chatting. We were having a lovely conversation. And then somehow he said something like, do you like football?
It's made up already.
I said, I know. It's a shocking experience. But he was like, do you like football? And I said, yeah, I'm a big Broncos fan. And he got like this look on his face and he said, I'm an Oakland Raiders fan. And then I looked at him and he looked at me, and then we simultaneously turned around and walked away from each other. I'm not even kidding. It was like this, well, that's over. Walked away. My friend was like, oh my God, you both just decided that this wasn't worth it because you hate each other's football teams that much. And I was like, I would never date a Raiders fan.
Damn. I literally only started pulling for Duke basketball because my whole family liked UNC, and I just thought it'd be annoying. So I had everything in Duke for a couple of years, and I was really into the bit. Like, I knew all the players, and I was like, yeah, Coach K, go on camera crazy. I was so into the bit. I'm just like, I'm too antagonistic to be a sports fan. I do things not out of love for the game, but whoever I want to piss off the most. Like, when I was in middle school, a bunch of cheerleaders pissed me off. They were mean to me. So, like, I showed up to the homecoming football game in the opposite team's attire and sat on the home turf, and just the whole time, like, cheered for this other school that I didn't even go to just because these cheerleaders had pissed me off. And I wore all that gear to the pep rally because I told the school, I want to read my book. I don't want to go to the pep rally. It's loud. And they were like, you have to go to the pep rally. So my little ass showed up in opposing team colors.
Taylor, are you a youngest child?
No, I'm actually, well, I'm my dad's only child, and I'm my mom's oldest child.
Oh, interesting.
Is the youngest child usually the piss and vinegar child?
It's the contrarian, yes.
Yeah, my little sister's like that, but
I think it's also sometimes like
I get all the attention because the sun shines out of their ass.
It's the only child but has siblings on one side, I think can also lead to this of like I have to get the attention somehow.
I'm just like contrarian to the max. And in I guess it's good as an academic. The thing that got me is when I came to grad school, everyone was like, oh, wow, you made it out of a conservative shithole. Like, you must be a real independent thinker. And I'd be like, yeah, I think for myself, I'm like pretty, like strong-willed about that stuff. And then they try to run some bullshit over me, and I'd be like, you think I made it out of this shithole in the South to come up here and hear bullshit from you all? Like, what do you want?
And the fact that you accepted the fact that they said you made it out of this shithole, I think is the thing. Like, that's how people talk to you. They're like, oh, you made it out. I will never forget. And I'm going to name check this one. Matt Noven, NT Wright, was a big NT Wright kid. We worked together at Edinburgh.
Yeah.
He is from the same place I am from, except he went to private school.
Oh, okay.
But I remember when I got the job, I sat next to him, and I was like, you're from where I'm from. Because you can tell, you can hear it. Even if people have refined it, you can tell. And I said, you're from where I'm from. And he goes, I'm from Chattanooga. And I said, yep. And he goes, okay. And I said, what school did you go to? And he was like, private school. And I said, it must be disappointing for your parents that we ended up in the same job.
I said that to someone who went to Stanford, who had my same. There was some dude that went to Stanford and was like very proud of Stanford, and I was like, how's it feel to know that your advisor is also helping someone who started out at community college, bitch?
I mean, there's a little bit of satisfaction from it because you're like, he was like, well, it was a really, I'm sure it was, but here we are.
Yeah. On a very lesser note,
here we are.
I talk about my undergrad is because I went to like I went to the University of Northern Colorado, and like in the ranking of Colorado universities, obviously University of Colorado is typically the one that everybody's like, oh, it's such a good school. Oh, did you get into there? Whatever. And they just constantly would shit on us, and also like it's primarily a school for teachers and nurses, so
and murderers.
A school, that's the town.
Wait, what?
There's a lot of murders.
There's a lot of murders in Greeley. It's it's an interesting place. But yeah, I would always be like, oh, I went to UNC. Like, I paid a lot less for my undergrad. I got a decent education, and now I'm a PhD, and you went to CU, and what did you do with your life? Like, I'm gonna try. Let's fight.
Well, and every time she says I went to UNC, I think she was talking about Chapel Hill.
That's what my first thought.
Yeah, mine too.
I don't know. As a teacher teaching at a school where everyone's a genius. Well, I'm talking about BU now. When I started teaching at BU, I had a crisis because I was grading stuff, and I was like, was I this dumb when I was an undergrad? Turns out, no. Actually, the standards were higher at my shitty undergrad in the South than they were at Boston University. And all I'd heard is how goddamn smart all these kids were. And I'm like, you couldn't argue your way out of a paper bag.
My hardest degree was at a Baptist college. And I kid you not, it was not my religion degree. Sorry, Dr. Nash. It was my psych degree.
Yeah.
They made us take like statistics from the math department. Like I had to take like research methods 1 and 2. It was categorically the hardest class, the hardest degree I ever earned. People would be like, "Oh, more than your PhD? Okay, whatever. We'll put that aside." But yes, maybe still, because that statistics class was at 8 a.m.
I had one of those. It was brutal. We were all suffering.
It's tough.
It was hard.
Is that a lot of times to get the jobs at Yale and Harvard and whatnot, you have to play the game really well, and you have to learn about BART. And I mean, you have to be the right kind of academic. And so all of the people who did interesting stuff or creative stuff or innovative stuff are not at those schools. And so she was like, I guarantee you, state schools, directional schools like mine, smaller liberal arts and community colleges are tending to get the academics who didn't go the safe route and are better professors, are smarter, are better, and they're teaching more innovative stuff because you're not doing just what everybody's been doing for the past 200 years.
Yeah, it's just another myth that these schools are full of the smartest people. It's bullshit. They choose from them. They're in fuck. They choose from within. Like they're all doing the same shit. They make only safe choices. It's bullshit.
And I will say there's a real, probably quite accurate stereotype at Edinburgh that Edinburgh only takes Edinburgh grads.
Yeah.
And I benefited from that. Like I took my supervisor, my PhD retired, I took her job. But I was an Edinburgh grad. And if you look at the hires, they hire from their own.
Yeah.
Now, so you can benefit from it, but it's also a negative in a way when I came to the States because people are like, who are you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been at this like power university and it was like, people are like, I don't know who you are. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, but I think I can't say I haven't benefited from it, but I see it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's totally true. Better the devil you know. I mean, they're going to.
It's right back to that class stuff.
I mean, no wonder people hate the academy. We've done a shit job of showing them that we're anything but elitists. And it's, I mean, and I feel it. Like, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, burn the whole thing down. Like, just burn it down. I don't care if I get a job, burn it down. And I don't really feel that way, but there is a real animosity and resentment in me. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel a part of that, you know? It's like Gatsby. Like, Gatsby has more money than anybody in West Egg, but he's not really a part of, you know, he's not really wealthy.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's a corrupt, terrible system. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, where do I work now? Ask me where I work right now, predominantly.
Where do you work right now?
Mercer University. Guess where I got my master's degree from?
Mercer
University.
I mean, honestly, the best way to get a job is through connections. And that's
But it's not fair. I'm not saying it's, I mean, where did I get my PhD? Edinburgh. Where did I have my job? Edinburgh. It's not fair. Like none of it's fair. It's not real. It's not like you put an application in as an academic and you're getting judged based on your merits.
BU has a rule against that. BU actually, we got told this, BU has a rule in place that they will only going forward hire people from a school that is ranked higher than BU. So they won't hire their own graduates unless they get tenure at a school that's ranked higher than BU.
I mean, that's its own version of kind of corruption in a way. Like, it's like, what does that mean? Like,
it means they take people from Emory and Harvard, basically.
Right. Like, that's the problem, is that then it's that niche. Like, now we're just going to have people studying the same 3 things because it's the safe stuff, you know?
Right. And also, I mean, no offense to Emory, but Emory was in Atlanta with Mercer. It's like, we took classes at each other. So we were in a consortium, Emory, IT, this Black theology, and Mercer, we all took classes within each other's walls. It's like, I don't know. It just feels like such a dumb thing to be like, who's ranked higher? Because that doesn't mean,
sad. It's sad because
it's not what you published and it's not what you've taught. You know, it should be your experience and your.
Yeah. It's sad. It's why I do the podcast and the YouTube stuff. Like, there's a whole lot of good things that an academic like a higher ed can do for people. It truly was a doorway for me. Like, I wouldn't be the person I am today if I had not had the opportunity to get an education. Sure, I could have gone to the library and read books, but it's very different when you are given the space to just focus in on what you're passionate about. And most people don't get that opportunity. But I just get enraged by how that's not made available to people, and the universities themselves don't want to like reach out to the public.
I think it's more than just reading books too. I think it's having those conversations. Like, you can't read the book in isolation. You need to be able to have a conversation with somebody who understands it better, and to, you have to do it. As much as I want to believe that you could like self-educate about some things, like there are certain things that you don't know what to read. Somebody has to help you, but also, yeah, it's, I love it. I love talking to academics. I love being in the circles, and simultaneously I'm like, this is the most infuriating life choice you could possibly make. Like, how much do we hate ourselves, that we just want to torture ourselves?
My husband, who works in like IT, was like, he came to America. He's Scottish, and he got a job in IT at a bank. Yay! Yay for yay for everyone in this household. But they looked at what he did. Like, can you imagine?
I know, right?
They didn't look at where, like, this is in Charlotte, North Carolina. He got a degree in computers from Robert Gordon University in Scotland. No one knows what that is. No one cares. Doesn't matter. He's got the degree. He's spent this many years doing IT stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what can you imagine a world like that?
I mean, no.
They're just like, oh, you got the degree and you did the time. And they were like, oh, you got the job.
Like
5 years later, you still do it.
Like, well, what have you studied? Who have you studied with? What books have you read? What have you read? Like,
who have you studied with is such a nauseating question.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know.
Some of my best professors, some of the people I learned the most from, are not famous. If I was like, who really helped me and like made me who I am today is Don Payne. Who is that?
Yeah.
You don't know.
I don't know. I don't respect any famous scholar anymore. I used to. I don't anymore. I've never met, there's not one famous scholar that I know right now that I deeply, deeply like respect. I think he's dead. And he was an asshole. If I'd known him in real life, I'd have been like, motherfucker, get your hands off me. I'll slap you back into Nazi Germany.
I'm dying. Taylor, you're killing me.
I mean, Tillich was from a different era, though. Like, the thing I tell people about Tillich is that, yeah, Tillich was, like, privileged and he came from an upper middle class or an upper class family originally, but, like, his theology and his philosophy were born in the trenches. Like, he fundamentally changed. And then when he went back to Berlin, he lived kind of among the urchins, right? He had a university position, but he was, like, he lived with poor people in the trenches for 4 years, and his job was to minister to those people. So he wasn't, like, he had a real down-to-earth kind of grasp of what people's experiences were like in a way that contemporary academics just don't, because you don't go from the trench to a tenure track position in the modern period.
Also, where did he go in Europe? Sorry, Christy.
He was all 4 years, just all along the Western Front in France.
Okay.
He was a chaplain, but he was like very close to the front lines, so he was just kind of there the whole time.
In World War I, which is like objectively,
objectively awful.
Like, also, I think like you don't get to. This is not an excuse or to like give them defense or anything, but like you just don't get to the place of being like influential and famous without being kind of an asshole. Like,
no,
there has to be a little bit of a brokenness, or you're not going to become that person. So
you got to step on people.
Let's just not get real precious about if they were nice.
No, I just drank a big drink there because I hate that, but you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. It's unfortunate.
I know you're not.
But like, even Heather is kind of an asshole. So,
oh, tell me more.
I mean, I'm not the one
who paid her. She paid me.
Also, like, I cried a lot.
I love her. I love her dearly, but she broke me many a time.
Yeah, like, yeah. My dog.
Yay, puppy. All right. It's been, wow, we almost went for 2 hours.
We went 2 hours.
Damn.
I think we've had it.
Yeah, we've hit it. I'm tired. I didn't mean to keep us going that long. I just, we kept hitting the hot takes. And I was like, you know what? And another thing.
Welcome to Theology on the Rocks.
It's the wine. I played a little bit of wine roulette. I was like, how many good points can I get in before this wine hits me?
I mean, truly unruly has helped me through this whole game.
Truly unruly. All right. Well, let's sign off, I guess. Thanks for coming on and talking about all the problems with me. We've solved none of them, but
no problems. But you know what? We had a great time.
And you know what? We're gonna keep on fighting the good fight.
We'll be here.
All right.
Drinking.
Well, this has been Theology on the Rocks and Tillich Today. And we will see you all Tillich tomorrow and Theology on the Rocks tomorrow. You like that, Tillich tomorrow?
I do like that. That was good.
Is that always your log off? Because
that's how I log off every time.
I like that.
I tell people we'll see y'all Tillich tomorrow.
Yeah, and I just go bye. Bye. I love it.
Bye.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoyed as much as we did.
It was fun.
I'll go listen to both podcasts.
We'll set it up. So everybody go check out Theology on the Rocks and Theology on the Rocks. Come check out Tillich Today. I'm the same person here in every episode.
Everything that you just heard is what happens on both podcasts. So
oh, all right.
Bye, babies.
Bye.